Hi, Barbara. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Mary. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good this morning. And today I'm really excited, obviously, for our conversation again, because we're going to be sifting through the truths and the imaginations of children. As I'm sure parents of young children are aware, children say a lot of random stuff. Some of them is the truth, and some of it is purely imagination. So today, we want to talk about how we sift through that and make sure we're picking out the important stuff that our kids are saying. Recently, my daughter, she's 4, asked me what's bad luck. And I said to her, where did you hear that from? And she said, her friend at school told her that she was bad luck. It turns out she actually heard it from Teen Titans, but I had to probe her some more to understand why she was asking these questions, where she heard it from. And so I want to, just speak to you today, Barbara, about how we kind of sift out the important stuff that our children are saying.
Mary, that story made me laugh. And it's typical of, well, most 4-year-olds or most children at that age. And I'm glad that you mentioned imagination, because for a lot of them, it's their imagination. Maybe saying running wild isn't fair, but it's them putting what they watch and see and what they imagine into context or into real life. So you don't want to discredit what they're saying completely. But I guess with your experience, it really takes knowing your child and observing your child to be able to tell the difference. And you might not get it right 100%. But if you've observed what your children are doing, if you are aware of what sorts of activities they are involved in, you know what's making an impact on them, you know where their interests are, and you know when they start, incorporating that in real life, you can tell what might be from a show they are watching or from a book they've read, or what may have happened to them in real life. And also knowing your child's personality, right? We know that some children are more expressive, or they come across as being more expressive, or they come across as, activating their imagination quite a bit. So if you know that your child is prone to that, then, you are more attentive to stories that seem over the top, or information that they give you that seems over the top. That being said, you always need to leave a little bit of room for the possibility that what they are saying is the truth. And then when you can, you fact check, right? When you can, you fact check and make sure that you are ruling out the possibility of what they are saying being the truth. So I hope that's helpful to your question.
Really helpful. And, obviously we don't want to discredit our children, like you said, and we want to make sure that we are getting the important information that they're saying. But what is important, do you think? Is it what they say, how they say it, or when they say it? How do you kind of sift through all the stuff that they say?
Yeah. So I actually think it's a combination of all three. What it is they're saying, how they're saying it, when they're saying it, where they're saying, all of those things matter. In that, like every conversation, you listen to the verbal aspect, but non-verbal cues are also very important. So what they are not saying is also something that you want to be paying attention to. And then even though they're not saying it, they probably will be acting it out. So you are picking up on behavioral cues, for example. Okay, what sorts of emotions are backing what it is that they're saying? So is there some sort of fear, anxiety, agitation around what they're saying? Are they saying it repeatedly, or did it come up once and leave, right? What's the context? And when we talk about where they're saying it, is it in a specific situation or around a certain person? Okay, so these sorts of things you pay attention to when you think about the fact that your child may possibly be in a harmful situation, right? Because we know that they're not always able to express certain experiences if there's some kind of fear attached. Okay, so that being said, the opposite of it is that if it's a flippant comment or it's lighthearted, they say it with a laugh, and it's while they are watching a show or something of the sort, or more often than not, that there's no cause for alarm. So I think that it's a combination of all three. You really should be paying attention to all three. And then, like you said, sift what's important from what is not, based on, all of these things that you've paid attention to. So both verbal and non-verbal cues.
This is really important. We don't want to miss the important stuff that our children are saying, because they do say a lot of important things. But then it's also mixed with additional buffer. But we want to make sure that we're picking out the important things. I think what's also important is giving your child a listening ear so that they can always come to you and don't think that you're going to. So Baba, how do we support our children and help them to understand that they can tell us the truth and help them to communicate the truth to us, and also help us to sift out the additional buffer that they're adding to the truth as well?
I like how you use the word buffer. It feels very appropriate here. It's important to not put them down, even when you found out that what they are telling you is not exactly accurate, in that you want to leave an open door for them to come to you every time they feel like they have something to say, important or, not as important, if we think of it that way. Now, we've always emphasized how important it is to keep open communication with your children. Okay, so that's basically not cutting them off or giving biting remarks back, or, just being harsh in your feedback and, telling them off or cutting them off before they're completely done. To a large extent, you have to indulge them and listen, even if, you're engaged in some other activity. Let them be around you and talk. Let them know that it's always okay to come. Now, you also don't want to a large degree. So like I will refer to your conversation with Chloe, in that you mentioned to her that you had found out that it was from a show, but you say it with laughter. And I can imagine that you said it to her in conversation, and it wasn't a reprimand, right? So you want to be honest with children also, because sometimes we think of them as little adults who, aren't there yet, but they actually have a mind of their own. So sometimes if you're patronizing them in their own way, they can tell. So it's good to be honest with them and say, okay, I think that X, Y, and Z is actually what happened. Okay, but again, not out of anger, to let them know that, this person is following what I'm saying. Okay, I have their attention, but maybe it's really okay to tell the truth, to present the information as it is. Okay, because we also have it at the back of our minds that they are being imaginative. They are trying to put their imagination into play. But of course, you are being attentive so that when it starts to shift into actual lies, then and you want to catch that, the minute it starts, and put that to sleep, if that's the right expression to use.
Perfect. It's true. And we don't want to suppress children's imaginations either, because that's how they learn, through asking questions, whether they're asking questions that are, with additional buffer, but it's how children learn. So we don't want to suppress their imaginations and make them feel bad when they're asking these questions. Mm-hmm. So I really appreciate everything you said, and I really appreciate this conversation, because as you know, these are real life situations that are happening to me. Yes. And we're just trying to see how we can best support our children to be the best they can be. Thanks so much, Baba. This has been such a great conversation, as usual. Is there anything else you want to add to help us and our viewers to support their children?
Well, as always, I was going to commend you and say, I think it's beautiful that you are sharing your real life experiences with people. I mean, first of all, I think that you are handling them beautifully. And it's nice that you are sharing your experiences with people, so that I guess to some extent they'll find it useful too, because they are sure to, people who have a 4 and a 2-year-old are very likely to have similar experiences as you. So if they find your experiences useful, I think it's a big deal. So well done.
Thank you, Baba. It's been absolutely great talking to you as usual. And if anyone wants to get in touch with you, you'll find Baba's details at the end of this clip. Okay, we'll speak again next time, Baba.
Thank you very much for having me, Mary. I look forward to our next conversation.
Okay, bye.